So, Christine, my next question to you is, I know of a lot of people like you who spent 15 years in marriage and then decided to get out. There would be tons of people, and I'm sure you gave yourself excuses, but there was one defining moment when you said, that's it, and I don't take it anymore. If that 6-year-old was seeing you today, how you are, and was looking at what you've created for yourself, what would you and that 6-year-old want to say to the whole world, to all the men and women? How should they identify this is the right time? What should they be doing? What are the steps they should be taking? I'm really grateful. Thank you.
Oh, I think for me, it got to the point of that everything was such a routine, but very much loaded in my direction. And I was the one doing most of the things. Like I say, I was the person that was driving. When we first moved up there, I drove 75 miles each way to go to work. But I was still the one that went and did the shopping, whatever, and he was working from home. So it was some of those sort of little things that started to ping, and you're going, this just isn't right. No, it's not. It's being aware of how it makes you feel. I mean, I think in the end, I wouldn't have said I had a knowing then, but I did, that it wasn't right. And in actual fact, the other little marker for me was that I actually believed that I stayed in my marriage until both my parents were dead. My mother died a year before I split from my husband. My father had been dead for quite a while, but I think it was also that being a bit honor bound. I was married and they paid for everything, and if I left, have I failed in their eyes? So I would say, if I'm giving clues to people, I can't give the steps because I just didn't know, but I made the decision, and it was, once I'd made that decision, then sort of an action plan went in place in my head, which was basically, where am I going to live? When I told him I was leaving him, I already had somewhere to go and live, a place that I'd already negotiated on for renting. So I wasn't just going to go off out into the world and have nothing. I had a place to step to, so I would be safe and be able to carry on my life, because I still had a job I was doing, so I still needed to maintain that. And I would say, in actual fact, I suppose that's the clue. Plan. Don't just, I left with only 2 suitcases and, filled my car. I left so much stuff in the house I didn't want to go and negotiate and battle over. I just took it and said, I'm just going to be me and be in that space of who I am. And so I think it's that whole don't leave yourself short, as in, walk out the house and have to go and stay with friends for months. I actually planned, and I told him on the 29th of December and I left on the 1st of February. And that was the other thing, that if you make the decision, just do it and go. The decision had been a little bit longer in the build up, but the final, once he was told, it wasn't like, oh, well, he was like shocked and he wanted to know why and whatever. And I just, my explanation was wanting to be me. And just that it's not working, and and it was, that month was interesting. I didn't always stay at home that time because I was able to be away with work, but it's having the strength. So that's a little bit of the Bally girl coming in, to be able to, well, stand on your own, because I think quite a lot of people that want to get out of marriage don't step out, because they go, well, I'm going to be on my own. That's not, how am I going to manage? Or they've never been on their own before. I mean, I was late married. I didn't get married till I was 35. I met him when I was 30. So, you know, I was an older, so old and wiser in some of that respect. But I think, yeah, once that feeling is lost, like, you know, I just got to a point where I felt that he didn't love me, and that it was just everything that I brought to the marriage was more worthy than I. You know, I used to have company cars, etc., etc. So, you know, he always had a nice car to drive, etc. So I would say that the biggest thing is, if you make the decision, don't delay.